Tom Hanks reunited with the Forrest Gump team. Coppola burned $120 million of his own money. Joker 2 bombed with musical numbers. These weren't just flops, they were supposed to be hits. What happened? No one knows. But here are the 10 box office faceplants that made zero sense in 2024. Typically, big-name directors can expect plenty of hype around their movies, so when Guy Ritchie's The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare flopped at the box office, many were confused. The April movie is a historical action flick that follows a ragtag group of individuals who are tasked with taking down Hitler's U-boats during World War II. The cast includes Henry Cavill, Alan Ritchson, Alex Pettyfer. In usual Ritchie fashion, the movie is explosive and on the edge of completely ridiculous. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare did fine with critics, earning a 68% on Rotten Tomatoes, but the true kicker is that audiences loved this movie, giving it 92%. So it makes no sense that the movie only grossed $27 million on a budget of $60 million. The main argument for why the film flopped is that it was not marketed well enough. By putting the movie on streaming alongside its theatrical release, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare was doomed to have a smaller box office sum. One movie that presented itself as a hit but failed to reach expectations was Here. Released in October, this movie is based on a graphic novel of the same name and takes place in a single American home where various generations of families live and love. At first glance, this movie should have been a roaring success. Alongside its unique premise, the movie boasts a star-studded cast and saw the reunion of Tom Hanks, Robin Wright, and Robert Zemeckis for the first time since Forrest Gump. Yet, this wasn't enough. On a budget of $45 to $50 million, the movie grossed a mere $13 million. On top of that, Here was panned by critics and audiences. With a 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, many felt that the movie was lacking the depth it yearned for and worse, came across as cliché. Furthermore, viewers were unimpressed with the de-aging technology used on Hanks and Wright, who never truly looked like the youths they were supposed to be playing. Thus, Here stumbled under the pressure of its potential greatness. Another film with great potential was February's Argylle. Directed by Matthew Vaughn of Kingsman fame, Argylle follows Ellie Conway, a novelist who discovers that the dashing spy she writes about is real. As a result, Ellie gets swept up in a dangerous conspiracy that puts her in danger and forces her to finish her current writing project. Like other Vaughn projects, Argylle intrigued audiences with its zany ambiance and high-stakes action, but unfortunately, critics were not impressed. Despite earning a solid 71% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, Argylle was not as beloved by critics, who gave it a 33%. On top of that, the movie only earned $96 million on a budget that reportedly hit somewhere around $200 million. This was a huge letdown for Argylle and made it one of the most notable flops of the year. Yet, due to its fun premise and strong cast, Argylle should have been a winner. Ultimately, it seems that the spy film tried to do too much, resulting in very little good material. Of course, not every box office disappointment did poorly with critics. For example, Saturday Night received plenty of praise, yet this could not make up for its measly box office earnings. Released in September, Saturday Night is a fictionalized look at the behind-the-scenes drama that ensued right before the first episode of Saturday Night Live aired on NBC. This movie showcases a large ensemble cast of stars, from Gabriel LaBelle to Rachel Sennett, and delves into a period of comedy history that many are intrigued by. So many may be wondering, what went wrong? Saturday Night only grossed $9.8 million at the box office. This falls incredibly short of the movie's $25 million budget and isn't representative of the movie's certified fresh 78% Rotten Tomatoes score. It seems that Saturday Night simply didn't reach audiences' radars when it was released. Presumably, the movie was overshadowed by other huge releases that month, like Beetlejuice and The Wild Robot. Hopefully, Saturday Night will get more love when it eventually comes to streaming services. One 2024 movie that definitely deserved more attention was The Fall Guy. Based on the 1970s TV show of the same name, Ryan Gosling stars as Colt Seavers. a stuntman who suffers a terrible accident and loses both his job and his girlfriend. However, when trouble starts brewing on his ex's movie set, he returns to save the day and win her heart. Gosling appears alongside stars like Emily Blunt, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, and Hannah Waddingham. Despite a certified fresh 82% on Rotten Tomatoes, The Fall Guy only earned $181 million at the box office. Compared to other movies on this list, this amount may seem like a lot, yet many feel that The Fall Guy could have, and should have, gone even further. One reason why The Fall Guy did worse than some hoped is because audiences did not recognize the franchise. As a result, viewers preferred to see the more familiar franchise films of the summer over this one, regardless of its reviews. Another movie that had everything going for it but fell short was Horizon. With Kevin Costner starring and directing in this project, the movie follows a vast ensemble of characters in the American West in the years leading up to and during the Civil War. Costner has long been praised for his powerful performances and his directorial style. And Horizon stood out because it is a project he has been working on for decades. Unfortunately, this did not save Horizon from becoming a box office bomb. On a budget of $100 million, Horizon made only $38 million at the box office. The main reason for this is probably that the film earned a 51% on Rotten Tomatoes. Many critics pointed out that the film felt too complex, with too many characters to keep track of in a plot that didn't feel like it went anywhere. What makes Horizon's failure even worse is that Costner has 3 more movies planned, and these may not happen now. So Horizon's failure hurts 4 movies rather than just 1. When a franchise film does poorly, it does not go unnoticed, and Transformers 1 was a big example of this in 2024. Transformers is a long-running franchise that recently transformed from live-action films to an animated feature in Transformers 1. The movie itself followed the origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, who were best friends before they were bitter enemies. The film stars Brian Tyree Henry, Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, and Jon Hamm. It earned $129 million on a budget of $75 to $147 million. The failure of Transformers 1 is a bit complex. Despite being an incredibly popular franchise, Transformers 1 suffered because of its form and its marketing. Many adult viewers were disappointed that the film series was converting to animation, and felt that the movie catered more to children. This view wasn't helped by the fact that the Transformers 1 trailer displayed a more humorous movie than a dark and serious one. In this way, Transformers 1 accidentally alienated those who would have loved it the most. Isauri, one of the most shocking box office disappointments of the year has to be Furiosa. A prequel in the Mad Max franchise, Furiosa is the origin story of the titular character, who made waves back in 2015 in Mad Max Fury Road. Audiences get to see where Furiosa came from, how she lost her arm, and how she became such a skilled driver and survivor in this dystopic world. With Anya Taylor-Joy in the leading role alongside Chris Hemsworth, this movie was one of the most highly anticipated films of 2024. Furiosa is another movie that technically did well at the box office, but not as well as one might hope. The movie earned $173 million, meaning it surpassed its budget of $168 million, but did not break even. Aside from the movie's star-studded cast and big IP, many expected Furiosa to do amazing because of how well Fury Road did nearly 10 years ago. Yet this success may be what brought Furiosa down. Furiosa brought a story that was different from Fury Road, and this might have decreased audiences' interest. Yet another surprising flop was the long-awaited sequel, Joker 2. Released in early October, the sequel sees the return of Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck, the mentally ill man who became known as the killer clown, the Joker. While in prison, Arthur forms a bond with a woman named Lee, and she pushes him to embrace himself and his violence. However, Arthur begins to wonder if the person he truly is aligns with the person the public and Lee want him to be. Joker 2 made $200 million at the box office, yet still managed to disappoint audiences. On one hand, this $200 million just barely surpassed the movie's huge budget. But more than that, the movie's story was far from what audiences wanted. With a whopping 31% on Rotten Tomatoes, Joker 2 was panned for trying to do too much and failing on many accounts, especially when it came to the musical numbers. Ultimately, Joker 2 was deemed one of the biggest letdowns of the year. Finally, one of the most unexpected failures of the year was Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis. Deemed as yet another passion project, this movie centers on Caesar, a genius who wants to usher in a new utopian era, and his opponent, Mayor Franklin Cicero. Considering the fact that Coppola was behind this movie, many pegged it as having the potential to be one of the greatest movies of the year. However, the movie went in the complete opposite direction, becoming one of the biggest bombs of 2024. Megalopolis grossed a minuscule $13 million at the box office on a budget of $120 million. The film also received a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes. All in all, critics and audiences alike were disappointed with this film, which was criticized for being a chaotic mess that failed to bring its many ideas to fruition. Although Megalopolis certainly had potential, the movie collapsed under its own weight and was quickly swept under Hollywood's rug.